What's up guys, Bob here, welcome to another guide for Dragon Ball Fighters, and this time we're going to be covering something that, well, a lot of my friends and newcomers seem to always have questions with in regards to using assists and combos. Now, I just covered a video that went pretty in depth about how to use assists for general gameplay purposes, but I've kind of been dancing around this one for a little bit. Maybe I should have made it sooner, but it's whatever. So this is using assists and combos. First of all, this isn't anything too insane. We're not going to be covering rejump combos. We're going to be covering Zamasu Blades Adjustment combos. This is more aimed at newer players, so if you're a more intermediate advanced player who knows about all this stuff, then you probably don't need to consult this. But if there's things in your gameplay you aren't comfortable with, this might be worth checking out regardless. At least in my opinion, it might be. So, just like before, I'm going to pull this up really fast. This is how I have my notes this time around. If you want to take a quick look at it, you can. Yeah, this time we're doing Google Doc because I wrote this at work because screw it, why not? So, I'm going to be starting with a relatively easy to understand team, I think is the correct way to word it. This is a very Season 1 team, not in the particular order, but the idea, which is Goku on point because since he is the Ryu type character of this game, he's very easy to understand. He represents the universal bread and butter combo system to a T. There you go. And then the other two assists on back are two things we're going to be covering: DP assist and beam assist. We'll cover these later, but let's begin. So first of all, obviously we have Goku on point here, as I've already showcased that we're going to be using the universal bread and butter combo, which is, as follows. Which is 2M, 5M, jump, medium, light, light, 2H, dash, 2, medium, light, 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 light. Simple enough. If you need practice with this, just paste the inputs. It's not really that taxing. If you want to go for an easier version of this, this is much easier to do. Not as much damage, but it still nets you pretty ballpark. You're only missing out on 180 damage, which is... it's fine. I honestly wouldn't try to learn this game. You want, in the long run, to be way better at consistency rather than damage. You can work on damage later, but you don't want to be dropping combos because there's a bigger net value to be had with doing a 3,500 damage combo rather than pushing 4,000 damage and having a 30% chance of dropping it. If you know what I mean. It all comes with practice. The game's very lenient with input buffer windows, so you should have no problem learning it with I don't know, half-hour practice. Now, when trying to work these assists into a combo, there are three key factors we need to keep in mind. Now, granted, you don't need to look at these if you're going for a more general kind of use, universal stuff, but you do need to keep these in mind if you want to go for more precise kind of things. And these are startup frames, hit stun, and launch angle. Now, you can even go at this completely if you're going with a pretty easy build, and if you, for the most part, with any combo in this game for utilizing the universal combo system, if you think it'll work, it'll probably work. As in, if you don't try to go outside the realm of possibility too crazily, you should be able to get it to work out decently well. That said, though, I'm going to bring up each of these anyway. The one you do want to keep in mind, however, is launch angle for when you get to it. And then you want to consult startup, and then maybe later on hit stun. That's just my general advice for that. So, now let's consult... well, now let's just take this to the startups. Let's just go from startup frames. Obviously, startup frames refers to the time from when you actually input the button to when the opponent gets hit by it, as in the entirety of point in time from when I press the button for Gohan's assist to when the opponent's hit by it. There's a 21 frame gap in between that. Obviously 60 frames per second, 21 frames, that's a third of a second. Meanwhile, Goku Black's beam assist is a little bit on the slower side. 37 frames from full screen, about 34 from up close. Next up, obviously, is hit stun. Hit stun is probably the most important one, honestly. If you're not trying to learn multiple characters, this would probably be the most important one for you because hit stun is your window of opportunity from from when they're hit to when they recover. As in the point, hit stun by its raw definition is when the opponent is taking recoil, sorry for the noise, taking recoil from being hit by an attack to the point in time when they are able to recover and they can block again. It's the entire like guaranteed window of opportunity where you can get something to land. Let's just go ahead and take a look at my assists, shall we? Gohan's gives me an okay amount of hit stun. Like if I were to just follow the opponent upwards, I can get stuff. The game does come with a really handy feature. That yellow bar, stun time, that is the amount of hit stun, or that's a good approximation for how much hit stun you generally have. If you're ever confused, just look at that. Like obviously when it goes away, your opponent can tech out. The AI is set to do it automatically in training mode, so that's a good way of keeping an eye on it. So that's pretty good. How much advantage does it give me? Game's telling me 64. That is a flat out lie because it's calculating also the time when the opponent can tech roll out of it. So that's a load of crap. If I were to give it a more estimate, probably like about, still going, 40 frames advantage. Yeah, that seems about right. You want to more keep an eye on like from when they first get hit to when they can tech out, like that exact last frame. That will give you a good idea. Blacks gives me a little bit more, maybe. Close to the wall. It seems like it might be a little bit less, but I could be wrong about that. But you don't need to keep these in mind if you're going for like really like sharp combos that are like just kind of easy on the inputs. And last up, and this is the important one for what we're going to be consulting, is launch angle. Obviously, Gohan's uppercut launches him straight up in the air. Well, not straight up. This isn't UI Goku. It's like up and to the side a little bit. Not too bad, and Goku Black's launches completely away. Obviously, these two different trajectories serve us different purposes. So, how can we start maneuvering these into our combos? Well, the first one, this is a simple re-jump combo. What we're going to do, have Gohan go for the hit stun. And I got that my first try, actually. That wasn't too bad. I've been practicing this a little off screen, so I had a better idea of how to do it. But the idea is purely using the universal bread and butter combo. Most characters should be able to do this with like, as long as their air heavy launches downwards, or has a special attack that can send in that relative direction, you can probably do this. You shouldn't have too big an issue with this. So let's just go ahead and do it again. Obviously, I'm cutting it early. The reason being is because it doesn't EMI smash attack before I go into the Air 2H version. Yeah, so obviously this is a little easier to time. So that way with Gohan, all I need to do is just figure out like the speed of his attack angle, and I can work with that. There's probably better ways you can optimize this combo, honestly. But for the most part, this should serve you pretty well, I think. Yeah, there we go. Completely missed my air medium, but whatever. And I dropped the end of the combo. It's fine, it's cool. But yeah, that is like the easiest way you can go about doing that. Now, a couple things. Obviously, this isn't exclusive to just, Teen Gohan. This is just strictly speaking like the types of attacks are more like Dragon Punch assists where they launch the opponent upwards, they themselves go upwards, so on and stuff like that. Now, these are kind of like, they feel like they were made for the system, honestly, for doing the relaunch combos. And of course, obviously, this can be done with pretty much any assist that launches upwards at any sort of angle. We'll cover more about that later on. Now, there is one big trick I find for doing this. It's utilizing the air auto combo in order to land your assist as follows. So, when I first started trying to do this, I was kind of shooting wildly in the dark with like, alright, what the hell is the timing? I have no idea. This is going to be really hard. I came up with like this really good strategy. Actually, this was inspired from Untitled TV when he made really good guides for this game back in like 2018. So in terms of timing the assist to come out with my general combo, it's actually really easy. The trick is that when you keep in mind that every single time you do this move, it's going to start up the exact same timing. All you need to do there is like calibrate towards like when you'll the timing of your own combos, and you can kind of get it to work pretty easily. So I have a system to do this. Essentially, you time it with these three light combos in the air. So from here, nope, didn't quite work. Based on the assist startup, use the first jump light to time when you should push A1. Now for faster assists like Gohan here, you can time it more towards the end. I'm trying to time, so if I time it so kind of out simultaneously with my last light input, it doesn't quite work out. It's still coming out a little too soon. Let's time it more towards the floor. There it is. So the timing is a little more optimized for after I get the last light input out. Now, some assists, their speed is probably going to be more dictated by like, should you input it on the second light input and it'll come out automatically? Should you time it more with the third input? Some gap in between the two of them, you know, so on. I use that as a great gauge for it. In fact, the reason I have my input display up right now over here, that's not quite the right side up. The reason I have this up at all times is because you can check your inputs. Like, I'm trying my best not to match this out so you can see it decently well. That was close, but I sometimes mess up with pushing forward input, not upward, and just doing this on the ground. It's a bad habit of mine. Naturally, if you practice this a lot, you use this team, or if you use this team on a regular, then this should come to you without too much hassle. Since the timing is consistent, you should be able to just time it with your combos, and you can get out no problem. Okay, so now for utilizing assists for combos in the corner. This is much more universal and it's actually a lot easier. At least I think it is. Maybe I'm weird. But essentially the idea is to utilize an assist after the last hit of an input in order to get a knockdown, have them get popped up with the assist in the corner, and then get slight knockdown utilizing Dragon Rush so you can get yourself a real good wake-up scenario. It's all about pressure, really. It gets you some additional damage as well, depending on what you do for follow-ups, but in general, it's something you generally want to aim for. What I'm going to do with Goku, standard combo, I completely mess up the intro, whatever. Try for Goku Blacks. Not bad. I was standing on the ground though, so unfortunately I didn't get my sliding knockdown, but that is still a pretty good start. So the idea is, you want to use a beam assist in order to, the key to this is essentially utilizing the long ass hit stun you get from the beam assist in the corner in order to, and the slight pop up it gives you in order to easily just jump up and do Dragon Rush and then end up on the ground. So since it didn't quite work last time, not bad. I need time a little more so my Dragon Rush actually lands on the ground. There we go. And so now because I recover so fast next to the opponent, they have to guess a very ambiguous mix-up. Well, not really ambiguous, but there's a lot more pressure on them in this situation than if I were to just end a combo regularly, because they can recover a little bit sooner because it takes me a while to get to the floor. So it gives them a little bit additional wake-up options. Whereas utilizing Goku Black's assist in the corner, mess up again, whatever. And the entire time I'm doing this, I'm noting also that because of the delay for Black to come out, it seems like the timing is more so that you want to call his assist at the second hit of the auto combo. So for example, doing this. Yep, there we go. And then if you want to, you can also go for supers in the corner to get additional damage. Stuff like that. You can usually meter dump there pretty well too. So that is not too shabby. One other really cool thing you do want to keep in mind for troubleshooting if you're getting your combos right is always watch the combo counter in general. Obviously, you know, the hit counter. If it goes away at any point, then the combo has dropped at some point, or if it turns blue, it also dropped as well. So you want to keep looking at it while you're trying to practice your bread and butter combos, and that way you can test to see if it's a real combo or not. As in, there's no points where like the combo drops, they can tech out, or if it's just like not working in general, you know, stuff like that. Now, of course, I can also do something a little bit different with getting myself a little bit more damage if I want to. This is going to require me to calibrate my timing a little bit, but it shouldn't be too bad. Time it so it comes up with a second hit on top. Didn't quite get there. We're going to try it again. It's very similar to what I got before, actually, with actually doing the Dragon Rush on the ground. There we go. If you notice how the max damage kind of went up a little bit, that's because it did get me a little additional damage at the end of that, so that is really nice. And obviously, depending if you want to go for like wake up scenarios, or if you want to go for additional damage, you adjust your timing as such. Like getting Dragon Rush in the air will get you slightly better Oki. Doing Dragon Rush on the ground will get you better damage if you want to go that route. If I can fucking do this. There we go. Or you can do both. You can also use Sliding Knockdown from Dragon Rush in order to go to Super and get yourself a pretty good amount of damage. Either way really works. It's all up to you at the end. Now that being said, if I'm brave enough and if I can do this, I can actually utilize both of these ideas in the same combo. Utilizing Gohan for the re-jump, utilizing Goku Black for the combo at the very end. So let's go ahead and try to piece this together. And there we have it. Not only did I utilize Gohan in the middle of the combo, I managed to get Goku Black at the very end and end with Sliding Knockdown, granting me with 4,800 damage by itself with no super. Normally, if you want to go for bread and butter combo mid-screen and end with level 1 super, you'll usually tap at about 5k, but this is before I even did the super, so that's honestly kind of decent. Of course, it also came off a medium starter, so it was less scaled than like if I started with this. Obviously, the things would be different. I start with like a light combo, but you know, details. Now, if I'm brave enough at doing this, I can also end up doing this mid-screen. This might take a minute if I were to go for it, but it should be not too difficult. I'm realizing Teen Gohan might not have been the best example for this because it seems like he needs probably more of a super jump afterwards in order to get the combo to come out, because this is just not consistent whatsoever. Maybe he's a little bit more of an exact assist than I expected. There we go. That took a little bit of work to get out, actually. I don't know. I ended up using Gohan's B assist. Wow. Since when does it come out that far ahead of him? Holy shit. But yeah, I decided to change up a little bit because I'm realizing that, hey, his A assist might require a super jump, and I am bad at buffering super jumps at the end of the combos really fast. So I don't know, details. Seriously, when did that happen? Holy shit. Anyway, usually go for the double assist in combos if you want to get really big damage. I find that a lot of characters usually get their best bread and butter combos if you go for the dual assist in combos, because that gets you a lot of wall travel, a lot of meter gain, as well as just a lot of damage in general. Holy shit. Like something like this. Bar and a half of meter that was gained right there, and that's still like, I could, if I had access to more meter, I could probably go for level 3 and probably do more than 7k damage in that one. Holy crap. But yeah, that's just a rough example of that one. Okay, so that's pretty much it for the universal bread and butter combo assist. Before I do wrap that section up though with this new team that is being showcased. Wow, there's a lot of top tier characters. I didn't really intend for that. Okay, one more thing before we do move on though, is this. This is the thing I should have also covered in the synergy guide I made last week as well. But essentially, you can utilize assists off of your 6M in order to get free overhead combos. The reason this is important is because usually 6M by itself, it's your universal standing overhead. Every character has this. The tricky thing, however, is that you do not... It's one of my +3. Holy shit. Okay, I thought you were neutral. The tricky thing about this, however, is that but your character by themselves, since it's, you know, a standing overhead, they can't get anything off of by themselves unless they are in sparking. Because, you know, that stuff. However, with an assist behind them, you can just go ahead and do that in order to get free combos. So, you know, just want to point out really fast before we move on. Some characters... Now, this is getting into more specifics with these characters outside of the universal bread and butter system, with utilizing assists for pop-ups and combo enders and corners. Some assists are really... Some characters are really assist friendly. And that might sound like a weird-ass term, but essentially these characters have ways of doing combos in the air that takes the opponent back down on the ground. That way you can easily auto-time like whatever assist you want to use. UI Goku here is a new example of this. Other characters like this who have this are like Android 16, Android 21. I guess Cell if you want to count his rolling hammer. Maybe, I guess. But essentially, it looks something like this if I don't mess it up. That was bad. Hang on. I thought that worked, but that's, you know what, I'm going to stop there before I go insane with this. But in essence, yeah, Goku's, UI Goku's Corsica backlight in the air, the bus driver, in essence, it allows him to come out of the sky freely and then immediately do whatever. Depending on the assist that you have, if you have high enough hits done, you can pretty much do whatever you want afterwards. If it's low hits on assist and you got to work with it a little bit, it's not even that big a deal, really. But that's just like one example of a character who has a really good special that can do pretty much whatever they want off of it. Again, because of the fact that you are automatically coming out of the sky and it's easy to time the assist afterwards. You can do pretty much whatever you want off of it. So that's really nice. If I were good enough and if I didn't have less than like a half hour of UI under my belt, I could probably actually time it so I can do the extensions. But as it stands, nah, so I have to take my word for it. 16 and 21 also get this as well. So now we get to the characters that don't have access to the universal bread butter combo system, where something in their toolkit is either slightly different and doesn't quite work, or some other factor is at play. With these three characters, Vegito, Gogeta, and Piccolo, basically if you were to do their auto combos with each of them, you'll see that the N jump heavy doesn't spike them to the ground, instead it sends away at an angle. If I were to also do just with Gogeta, launches them straight forward, and Vegito should be something to Piccolo. Something a little equivalent to that. Now, what each of these characters brings to the table by themselves, however, each of them will have like some different special move or method of bringing the opponent back down to the ground, so that way they're not completely destitute. Vegito with his air throw, Gogeta with Soul Strike, that's what it was, and Piccolo with the EX chop in the air, pretty much, or light version if you want to do that. Now, what these characters also bring to the table with them, since they have unusual like jump heavies, is that they will often have much better corner carry, as in you'll frequently be able to just kind of mess around and get a combo that can end the opponent go into the corner completely. Like wall to wall, essentially. Let me try it with Vegito. It's been a couple of years though. Oh, hey, look at that. I just went completely coast to coast with Vegito. That was easy. And Gogeta is much the same case. However, he doesn't quite go coast to coast. He's pretty close to it though. If the opponent backtacks, they're pretty much right in the corner. And with Piccolo, I'm not as good with him as a lot of other people are, but I know that if you use the Hellzone Grenade move in the middle of a combo, because of this, you can get pretty close. If you don't drop it like I did. Oops. There we go. Yeah, it ends up getting pretty close to the corner again. Hell yeah. So that's just an example. These characters that don't play well with the Universal Butter combo Universal Butter combo system generally have their own unique tools to get them what they need out of pretty much any combo they get into. Because obviously you're not just gonna make a character that doesn't get any ground pressure. That would be silly. Okay, so obviously this being the game that it is, there's rules to every exception, right? So with Vegito here, obviously he doesn't quite... The problem with Vegito is that he has almost no way to get the opponent back down to the ground without meter, so that's a bit obnoxious, but he does do really well with certain air combos. Originally, before he came out, Gotenks was the only character in the game who had any sort of assist that tracked the opponent completely without regards to where they really were on the screen. It's actually kind of pretty good. Vegito used to work really well with Gotenks in this regard because of such things as lockdown the flip mix-ups and all that stuff. Then Janemba happens and suddenly he has it, so that's really good. Now I'm going to try to piece together a combo that utilizes at least one of these things. Let me see if we can do it. There we go. So essentially, because Janemba's assist is a bit faster than Gotenks', it's a little bit better at getting hits to land on the opponent in the midair than Vegito. But yes, there are usually exceptions to every rule in this game. Just do research in your own character and you can generally figure it out. Alright, obviously I can't really end this video off without talking about the C assists to some capacity, right? Okay, let me open with this. C assists are generally pretty good depending on what character is using it. Obviously some characters have better C assists than others. Some are just terrible, and some have regular assists that are way better than what their C assist offers. My general rule of thumb is that C assists are good, but depending on the work you put into your regular A or B assists, you can generally get the same mileage, barring like a few circumstances where your C assist would actually serve you a bit better. Anyway, so let me just go ahead and talk about some stuff. So C assists in general, they're built to get you much easier damage combos off of whatever scenario you end up in. So for example, like say you end up getting a super dash. Using a C assist, you can easily relaunch them, or you can even do stuff like this. Now, of course, the problem though is that C assists take 12 fucking years to recharge. I don't remember the exact number, but I remember it's something like 20 seconds maybe, and regular assists take like 10 seconds. I'm loosely paraphrasing that. I'm certain me in the future will look it up and put it on the screen, but that's kind of how it stands in my mind right now. There are some C assists in the game that I feel like are worth utilizing over others. Some of which are beam assists, like Kid Buu, because one of the guys who coaches me in this game utilizes this assist with some really good effect. Another one being Vegito, because unlike Gotenks or Janemba, this is another one assist that actually tracks completely outside of vertically. I'm trying to find words, but I can't quite find them. Some notable C assists I think are pretty good is Gogeta, Kid Buu, Vegito, Z Broly, and Super Saiyan Vegeta. Kid Buu, as you can see here, very fast beam that gets you a furry free combo off of it. It's very easy to confirm off of, and you still get your smash preserved, so that way you can go for decent combos. Vegito, obviously, because of the insane vertical tracking of his assists, holy shit. Banshee Blast has been getting pretty good recently, so it's worth checking out, as well as Spiral Heal Shot has pretty good blast frames, but the C assist moves pretty good. An even more interesting function of it is that it's way faster if you do it in the air versus if you try it on the ground. So for example, if your opponent's up here, comes out pretty much immediately. That is really goddamn good. And of course I can go for some like extended stuff and make this actually pretty good. Hang on a sec. Oops. Yeah, it wasn't too terrible. Took me a couple minutes to land that one, but yeah, C assist can in fact get you some pretty neat stuff. One particular instance I think they're really good off of it personally is Super Dash. Because since it allows you more time to get back onto the ground, it essentially allows you to reset your Super Dash, get to good positioning, and go for easy combos. Personally speaking, I think it's one of the things that C assists do particularly excel at, depending on what they do. 5k off of Super Dash, I'll take it. Okay, so I figured I might as well just go ahead and talk about the other C assists I think are fairly decent. First is Gogeta, or I guess we're doing Broly first. Broly's is armored all the way through. That's kind of ridiculous, and Gogeta's is very similar to Vegito's in that it covers it covers laterally, but I don't think it has the same good tracking as Vegito's, where it's a lot faster since he spawns right on top of them. Gogeta seems to be a little bit below your opponent, so that might be more like a situational case by case one. Okay, so I figured I'd also bring us all back to a team I have actually been using up until like around March, I think. Goku Blue, Zamasu, and Vegeta on back. Now, the reason I showcase this is because one, obviously Goku's up a point, so he showcases the universal butter combo system still perfectly, even though he's blue character. Zamasu's assist does cause a pop-up. You want to think so because it looks like a beam, but no, it actually does. And then Vegeta's has a crap ton of hit stun, so I'm just gonna try to showcase the combo I always used to do with this team. There we go. But yeah, essentially Zamasu gets you the pop-up with his assist, and then Vegeta's has a lot of hits on the corner, so that way you can pretty easily time it. It's actually a really simple combo, all things considered. But yeah, hope with that you've taken a few things away. The universal bread and butter combo system really helps for utilizing assists. It's all about timing. Just work on your character's timing. Try to factor in like how slow they are. For example, like Zamasu here, 34 frames versus Vegeta, who is slow at 42 frames. So as a result, I need to time Zamasu a little bit sooner and Vegeta a little bit later. You can always find this frame data super easily with the training mode. It's not a big deal. Just go into practice mode, keep the timings down fairly well, and you should be good. Also, always keep in mind that if you do get a like a hit with a super dash, or sorry, with an assist, and you don't think you'll be able to land it, super dash always works. Like generally speaking, 9 times out of 10, super dash will actually work. In terms of just getting easy extensions. Like if I got this and I wasn't confident, I could just go for super dash enders. It's not a big deal. Like just be flexible and know what your character brings to the table, and you should be a-okay. But yeah, hope you enjoyed. Peace.